Hey guys, welcome to What is Truth podcast. I'm here with Neil, guys.
What's up, buddy?
So we're going to be reacting to a couple of videos. A couple of them are going to be over Cliff Mitchell. Everyone knows who he is. He's the apologetic that goes to colleges' campuses, and he debates other students through apologetics, or apologia in the Greek, if you want to be a little more technical on that. So we're going to react to this video, though, that's not about Cliff, but it's more about like this very... I don't know. I believe that this is true, and I believe this is how it happened.
Yeah, it was about.
But these guys, it's ninjas and butterflies. These guys are funny. They guys react to like a whole bunch of different conspiracy, alien, scientific, weird stuff that's going on. And this one, it happens to be on the Bible. What?
Dude, I did not see the name ninjas or butterflies.
Yeah, that's it. Ninjas or butterflies.
Talking about the Bible.
All right, so we're gonna react to this. So we're gonna watch the whole thing through, and then we're gonna give our, commentary on it. All right, let's get
our expert commentary.
Exactly.
Scholars theorize that the Transfiguration of Jesus also happened at the top of Mount Hermon.
Wow,
Interesting. So the theory is, on this mountaintop, God's appearance changed. He was communicating with Moses and Elijah. How cool would that be if in that moment they were outside the realm of time? So when Moses was on top of Mount Sinai, Elijah was on top of Mount Carmel, God was directly speaking to them in the present, but in Moses' time, it would be that present as well. And in Elijah's time, it would be that present.
So wild.
And that's why they knew and had full confidence of the coming of the Messiah. Because they directly spoke with Jesus on this mountaintop.
That's such a wild thought to think about.
Even the disciples that were witnessing this, they saw like, this is the Son of God. This is God.
Yes.
And he's literally talking to Moses and Elijah right now.
Man, that's a weird thing to think about.
It makes you wonder if there's something up there, because if the Watchers descended upon this place, they obviously came from this realm. Is there like a weird, I would just call it like a portal? Scholars.
All right.
No, that's interesting. I wouldn't say a portal, but I would say more
like dimension.
Not only dimension, because there's a few scholars that talk about who created time, who created space, and so on. And obviously it was God, but God, in order to be able to create time, space, he needs to be outside of that.
Right, definitely.
So,
yeah, because he would be outside of it. That's like the biggest... I think that's a funny thing, misconception also, like with a lot of atheists, whenever they argue God, well, it has to happen this way, and he's got to be within that. It's like, no, then you're limited. Then it's not God. Then it's some other powerful being, but it's not God.
Mm-hmm. So I would like to see it like that. Probably God was speaking to them in the form of Jesus, pretty much, in the past, letting them know about what has to happen in the future, or something related like that. That's the only thing that I can think of.
Right, yeah, I think it's the same thing too. Like, well, and to give examples, like when this occurs, 1 Kings 19 is when Elijah goes up to Mount Carmel to speak with God, and Elijah was a prophet. Prophets did two things. They foretold, which is like where you go and tell people about, hey, if you don't quit this is, you're sinning against God. Actually, most of us are forthtellers. Foretelling is where I tell about the future. That's different. And Elijah foretold of the coming of the Messiah, of Jesus. Mm-hmm. He's also referenced as, in the Old Testament, he was referenced as the new John the Baptist that would come. I think it's in the book of Malachi. And then in Exodus 19 is where you have where Moses goes up to Mount Sinai to get the 10 Commandments with God. And he goes before God and he says that he sees the back of God. And then the glory shone on his face. And then with Peter, James, and John, when Jesus takes them up there to Mount Hermon, I think that's what he said. I believe it's Mount Hermon. That's in Matthew 17, verse 1 through 25. It says that it's called the Transfiguration, the Mount of Transfiguration. Transfiguration just means the revealing of the full potential. So when they went up to the mountain, they saw Jesus at his ultimate form. Right?
Which is going to be overwhelming.
Right. It's like a Super Saiyan glow. Actually, the way it describes it is like a bright light that's brighter than the sun.
Goku going Ultra Instinct.
Yeah. But like way more than that. So that happens. And then and then Elijah and Moses came before them. And then I do agree. I actually believe that when Moses happened in Exodus, which is 300, 400 years before Elijah, then Elijah between the New Testament was probably like almost 1,000-year difference. I believe that it all happened at the same time because they're in a different realm that was outside of time. Mm-hmm. Because that gave Moses, because Jesus is known as the New Testament Moses because he fulfilled the parts of Moses, but more, of course, than Moses. Elijah, I believe, when he got his prophetic calling in God, he had faith for the Mashiach, which is the Hebrew word for Messiah. So I do believe that's what ushered and pushed through for the Christianity, and then for Peter, James, and John, like being able to see Elijah and Moses. What's interesting is like I wonder how they knew it was Elijah and Moses. I guess Jesus told them, or they just knew it in that moment. But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't say that. Well, I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there, right? I wouldn't say that he told them. I wouldn't say that they assume it, because all back then everybody had to know the Bible.
Yeah,
they had to study. They had to know who was who. So the more likely had a sense of who they were at that present time and moment.
And you know what's interesting too, in the Hebrew, in the Old Testament, when it says that Moses sees the back of God, there's like a Hebrew different translation, or it's Hebrew, not a different translation, but it's retranslating what occurred.
Different meaning.
Is that he saw, it says that he saw hand, grace, and pierced, right? If you put those words, if you put all those words together, it's a hand pierced by grace. Meaning Moses would have seen, if he did see Jesus outside of time, then he saw Jesus with the piercing on his hand. Mm-hmm. So that actually makes a lot of sense. That all that occurred in the Mount Transfiguration.
That's interesting.
But yeah, I love these guys. These guys are awesome. I love to watch the reaction videos.
Dude, they think so outside of the box.
Well, some of them are I think are legit or real.
No, I mean, yeah, because that's the only way you're going to be able to actually find more answers. I mean, I wouldn't say find more answers, but it's like in school. I mean, they're going to teach you some of what is going on, but they're not going to teach you everything. It's up to you to think outside of that.
Right. And it makes it more interesting. And there's some things that we pick up on, like, oh, that's not real. That's not true. And then you hear about it, or you hear stuff that goes on, like, oh, that's crazy. Like, I think of you could go from extremes. You could go to the extremes, like when Alex Jones was like, there's an island and all these rich people go there and they do all these weird rituals. It's like, yeah, right. And then it turns out there was an island you may have seen. Or like the other extreme, like the idea of like the biblical truth. Like, we know this to be biblical truth. And I do believe, I know theologians and scholars debate this about the amount of transfiguration, that it all occurred, quote unquote, the same time, present for all of them, but outside of time. And another thing that's pretty interesting to know is that in the Bible, God is outside of time. Like, for example, in the Bible, it says that one day to the Lord is 1,000 years to us. Yeah. It's just as true to say one day to us is 1,000,000 years to him, or to say it's one day is 1,000,000,000 years to him. Because it's supposed to just show like there's no number that quantifies God's existence. And time is only for us to understand. And scientists know that if we go all the way to the distant end of the universe, time is only something that we came up with to help us conquer it. Like, if I look at a planet, I think it's like 3 million years away. I see it back in time, or whatever, or I see it at a different.
Yeah, you see it back in time because what it is a reflection of what it was back then. So by the time you're talking about the speed of light. So let's say you take a picture on the telescope and you see a planet. Well, depending on the distance of that planet from the point that you were looking at it, it's going to determine the time that it was that picture taken off. Right. So what it means is that once you start getting the picture to you, the time that passed already there has been changed. Thousands, millions of years.
Yeah, by the time you get it, you're like, oh, this just happened. Really,
it's like you're looking at the past.
Right. You're looking at that present moment of it, but yeah, the past of it.
Like, for you it's the present, but for them it's the past.
That makes sense. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to have a link to Neil's clothing line. You guys will see it on the bottom right here. We're going to be reacting now to the other videos. You guys will be seeing that coming up. As always, guys, please like and support, or comment, subscribe. And if you want to leave a comment, like, ask us if there's anything you guys want us to react to. Or if there's anything you disagree with us, please leave them in the comments.
Please, too. I would love to answer those.
Yeah, you'll love to answer those. Well, remember, guys, what is the truth? The truth is Jesus Christ. Thanks, guys.
Say no to the devil.
Amen.